Hello to all the good people at VVH.
For those of us who live and work in the Hamptons, we have a few legends out here. But this gentleman is a legend, Bob Bubka. And Bob, not only are you a legend in broadcasting on sports, but you also do more than golf, I know.
Well, I used to. I mean, I got my start on WLNG radio way back when. Ironically enough, I filled in for Marv Albert because he got drafted. Marv started out on WLNG way back when, and we became friends. And when he couldn't do high school football, I offered. And then when we found out in '81 that Shinnecock was going to get the US Open, I immediately contacted USGA trying to see how I could get WLNG radio involved, and I had to jump through a lot of hoops, and finally I was put in touch with a fellow by the name of Al Wester, legendary in broadcasting. He did radio for the United States Golf Association. I met with him about WLNG, and ironically enough, he offered me a job doing golf on the mutual broadcasting system, and that was many moons ago, and now I got the honor of sitting alongside of you here at the 2018 US Open.
Well, because of your efforts, you opened up the way for other broadcasters, ourselves included. We joined you guys in '96, right? That
95.
95. I remember distinctly when I met.
That's because you're going to say that I covered the one in 1896, and it's not true.
No, when Paul Sidney was there, and I recall meeting you and Paul, and in those days it was Governor Pataki, who was a very tall fellow, and it was the pre-launch of the U.S. Open. Boy, has this sport grown, hasn't it?
Well, it really has. I mean, you look around this media room, I mean, there are people from all over the world. I mean, not just all over the United States. I mean, the international interest in this sport, and you can see how it's going globally with the great players from Japan, Australia, literally around the world. And that's one thing that golf has afforded me. I've covered events in Australia. I've covered them all over Europe. And somehow, some way, my biggest thrill to this day is always doing stuff on WLNG radio.
We love WLNG. They're the real deal, and we love your accomplishment. It's guys like you who, those of us who are in the industry, who have the privilege of being part of this industry, realize what a Bob Bubka means to the broadcasting industry. And let me tell you, there are very few people, when we had that press conference earlier with Tiger Woods, there are very few people who have the distinction of having Tiger Woods call out, "Where's Bob?"
Wow.
There he is. He's working away, and you guys have how does this work here? This, we're TV guys, so we grab cameras and run in the mud, but tell us how you're set up here.
Well, first off, in the background, you'll see somebody vital to everything I do. Janice Self is her name. She's the executive producer. This week, I have my son Lane helping me. I have my brother Tom helping me. I have my grandson Jared Helgeson also helping me. We're broadcasting to London. We're broadcasting to WBZ up in Boston, a giant of a radio station, and of course always to WLNG radio. And maybe there's a young guy, and I'm glad you brought this up. Maybe there's a young guy watching your TV broadcast of this, and they may be saying to themselves, "Boy, I'd really like to do that." All I can say is, chase that dream. It could happen. I mean, it happened for me. Somebody from Sag Harbor, I had so much fun traveling around the country. When they would ask where I was from, I'd say, "Well, I'm from Long Island." And if they question how smart I was, I'd say, "Well, I finished in the top 20 in my graduating class." Of course, we only had 14 back then in Sag Harbor, so it wasn't hard to be in the top 20. But I love Sag Harbor. I love the East End of Long Island. I love Shinnecock, my fourth U.S. Open, as you alluded to. It's quite a thrill. There's probably nobody in this room that has been here for all 4 of the U.S. Opens. Maybe there's one other guy, and I want to pay tribute to him, Mark Herman. He writes for Newsday, very talented and a good friend. This is his 4th, too. We were just babes in the woods when we started. Now we're a little long in the tooth.
Well, Sag Harbor is represented in this worldwide media that is here in this media center. To have you here, to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to that. Next one is what, 2026? 2026. Do we have a date? May I stop by and say hello to you then?
Well, I certainly hope so, but if you look at my calendar right now, I have nothing written down for 2026.
All right, we're going to pencil that one in. All the best luck to you, your team, and we're very proud to catch up with a real legend of broadcasting, not only here in the East End, but throughout the United States. Continued success to you.
Thanks for the kind words, and really an honor to be on with you.